Welcome to STL&ME. I'm Teresa Petry. Today we have an incredible organization called Ride On St. Louis, and Marita Wassman, the CEO and founder, is here to join us. Thank you for being here.
Thanks, Teresa.
First of all, tell everyone, what is Ride On St. Louis?
So Ride On St. Louis was founded in 1998 to serve God and honor the community. And we are we're a therapy center that is really comprehensive, but it's in an untraditional setting. You can say that. So we're out at a barn, the beautiful outdoors, God's creation, horses, animals, things like that. Sure. In touch with nature, yeah. So a holistic type healing program.
And you guys really do focus on the equine-assisted therapy.
Yeah, equine-assisted services, that's what we do. So we try to incorporate everything with the horse into some type of healing services. And that can be a range of services, from things that support people physically, emotionally, spiritually, mentally. And it could be ground services where you're learning vocational skills around the management of horses, grooming skills, and then also riding the horse. So there's so many different aspects of being in that type of environment that are healing, really healing to individuals, body, mind, and spirit.
Well, and I didn't realize, but we were talking earlier, a horse's gait is similar to a human's gait.
Yes.
So talk about how that helps when, you have somebody that maybe is disabled, is using a cane, walker, and how this helps them.
It's really in depth, and you think about, okay, how does an animal with 4 legs feel like a person with 2 legs? But really, I think they were divinely created, obviously. When you sit on top of a horse, and the horse's rocking movement, and I know you had mentioned a couple of times you've ridden, so I always think of that that cartoon song, dun 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 dun, dun. And you have that kind of movement going back and forth. So as humans sitting on top of a horse, when the horse's pelvis and they're taking their steps, their ambling motion, it actually moves the human pelvis in all of the same dimensions as if you were walking. So you have the rotation, you have anterior, posterior movement, right, left, up, down. Everything happens the same way. And of course, it's different because people's gaits, we all walk differently. Sure. Everybody has a different type of movement. So does a horse. So with our staff, we're all trained, certified professionals and licensed professionals. We've worked with OTs, PTs, speech therapists, but we use that movement of the horse to best facilitate what that client needs. And so that might be a very passive, slow walk of just sitting, straight on top of a horse in a traditional manner. But it might be sitting sideways on the horse for a little child with scoliosis, or someone with cerebral palsy who might be really tight, or, have one side that has collapsed, or maybe post-stroke victims are trying to build strength. So all of these kind of things that people deal with, these challenges that people deal with, we can address physically on top of a horse, usually working with a physical therapist or an occupational therapist. Sometimes we even turn someone around backwards because if you think about it real simplistically, when you start a car or you are on a roller coaster, that's a big one because it's like, wow, hang on, but you're using your front muscles or your abdominal muscles to pull yourself to that momentum or that feeling. Okay. When you turn around backwards and the horse takes off, a lot of individuals who don't use those muscles at all are so challenged just by when the horse starts to take off, because you're actually engaging all those extensor muscles, and then we can really build the core. And what happens when you build the core is then you have more stability and able to use your extremities. We were involved with a whole research at Washington University Department of Occupational Therapy with Dr. Tim Shurtleff. And that's very fascinating. There's more about that on our website. People can watch the video.
Well, and I've heard from some of your clients just talking about the difference it makes. Like if they're not riding, they're back with the walker.
Absolutely.
So it's a continuous process.
It is. It's like any conditioning and muscle strengthening. If you go to the gym, hey, you're going to look one way. If you don't, sorry, but so it's the same thing that we're trying to help people just have, daily lives that are, happier, easier for them, that they're able to do things that are typical. And brushing teeth, brushing your hair, picking up a glass of water, something.
Daily, everyday thing.
Yeah, walking in and out of the car, transferring, into your bathtub and things like that. So that's all the physical aspects. But of course, the emotional aspects of riding, it's easy to say. You don't have to do too much. Everybody usually enjoys being out of doors and at a barn.
And horses, they're so majestic.
Mm-hmm. They really are. And a lot of times there's a little fear. People are, because they're so large. Mm-hmm. So it can be challenging and very motivating at the same time. So you have that kind of whole mental aspect and emotional aspect that gets tied into it. And then Ride on St. Louis is a very spiritual center. We rely on God for everything. I get choked up because he gives us so many blessings. And it's, we're here to serve the other people. And so if someone needs to stop and just say a prayer or whatever, we're there to kind of help them and guide them too. So
support system.
Yeah.
Well, and I would imagine too, just being in this group, that you make friendships.
You bet.
Within, everyone who's using your services.
You bet. And we have a lot of volunteers that help with our organization. And it's amazing to me, the volunteers will come and they'll say, they had some things at home and they don't like to share. A lot of people, some things stay private. And that's fine. And they come, or they might have had, aches and pains in their back or their knees or whatever, and they feel like they need to get more exercise or whatever. And lo and behold, a couple months go by and then I hear it. They come up to me and go, when I started here, I had this backache or something. And because I've been walking, or I had a volunteer that was with us for over 18 years. And she was diabetic, and her doctor said, you need to get exercise. You need to start, reducing your sugar intake, which she was doing. But the extra exercise really helped all of her numbers go down at the doctor's office, and she got into a right space. And so there's all these added benefits that I'm not aware of, that's.
Well, and when you're having fun doing it, it doesn't seem like you're having to follow doctor's orders.
Right.
Right?
Yes. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, we actually have some video from some of your clients that are singing your praises and the services as well.
Oh, absolutely.
Why don't we take a look?
Yeah.
Horses are amazing and I love them. They're like, how you say like a dog is man's best friend? Horses are a rider's best friend. Kayla loves horses. I'm a student at Southeast Missouri State University, English major, music minor, and I'm really excited. This will be my second semester at SEMO. I play clarinet and I'm a singer. I'm known in Jefferson County for singing the national anthem at Jefferson College. I sing at a rodeo and it's really fun. I started riding at Ride on St. Louis 2004 to 2009. I started during their fall session in September, and I love it. It's amazing. Basically, they are a hippotherapy organization. They help people with disabilities using a horse, and the horse's gait mimics the human gait, like side to side, forward and back. The horse's pelvis mimics the human pelvis. Well, I'm legally blind, visually impaired, so the horseback riding helps me. Like, I have to concentrate on where I'm going, looking at my surroundings, like being able to control the horse without anything happening. Ride on St. Louis is a blessing to me and so many others, and from 2004 to now, I know that Ride on St. Louis will be in my life for as long as I'm around. Like, I'll never stop supporting Ride on St. Louis because I love it so much.
After my deployment in Iraq, I came back home and became kind of an introvert. Had anxiety attacks, depression, things of that nature, and went and sought counsel or sought help from the VA, Department of Veteran Affairs. They diagnosed me with PTSD. So, doing some reading and doing some research about PTSD, I saw the benefits of the equine therapy. And Wounded Warrior Project sponsored me to come to Ride On St. Louis and participate in their program for equine therapy I did it for 10 weeks. My first initial set was for 10 weeks. It's been very good. Prior to me starting, I was wavering whether or not if I wanted to be a part of the equine therapy or not. And I came to the first lesson and didn't really, grasp on what it is that we were trying to do. I was just going through the motions. I think I called out sick the next 2 weeks, and then I said, well, let's give it a shot. So I gave it a shot and went back that third week. And from there, I remembered the stuff that we learned in the first week. And I thought, this is pretty cool. I'm starting to retain this stuff. And got on the horse for the first time, and it felt pretty good. And from there, I finished up my 10 weeks. And from there, I was able to get back into life, so to speak. I wasn't missing work anymore. Things looked happier. Things were better for me. Yeah, me and Zen, we're like buddies. It's when you're overseas and you're on a deployment and stuff, you have a battle buddy. And you always got their six. Okay, you always got their back, their six. I think when I got on Zen for the first time, he sensed what I was going through. And I didn't know it. I didn't know it all at the time, what I was going through. And he just eased me out, like, hey, I got your six, buddy. That's how it was. And so me and Zen had a special relationship ever since then.
And joining us now on set is Rich Hogan, veteran, and you actually participated in the Heroes program. We just saw that.
Correct.
Your horse, Zen.
Correct, yes.
Tell me about Zen.
Zen's a gentle giant. Yeah, he's a very gentle giant, non-judgmental, that's for sure. He's very welcoming to you. As I first met him, there's like almost an instantaneous like brotherhood, sisterhood bond there and whatnot. And, with the folks of Ride On St. Louis as well, everything just felt like being part of like just a small military unit that I've been used to and accustomed to, and felt like home. Yeah, it felt like being, back with the fleet and stuff like that. So yeah, it was pretty cool.
So is that what kind of gave you the encouragement? Because we heard, you were kind of trepidatious about doing it to begin with.
Yeah.
And then Marita was like, come on, come on.
Well, yeah, I think the trepidation really comes from when you're actually in the military and you've got a plan to do something. And if the plan doesn't, charge forward to yourself like you think it would, yeah, there's going to be that trepidation. There's going to be the objections and stuff. And thankfully, Marita pulled out a script or something like that and said something to the effect, okay, I'm going to overcome every one of your objections till finally you're just going to have to say yes.
She wasn't going to allow you to say no.
And that's exactly what happened. So yeah, so I gave it a shot, and yeah.
So you said, and animals have this way, they're non-judgmental, and they it's kind of like meeting someone eye level, and they just want to give you care?
That's correct, yeah.
And is that kind of what helped you pull yourself up, was just having that camaraderie with Zen?
Yeah, so in the video, I said something to the effect that, Zen was that warrior that was carrying the injured warrior off the battlefield. And that's how I felt with Zen. And then afterwards, when everything was said and done, I'm now walking with Zen. I'm no longer that wounded person. I'm that person with Zen. And that's our brotherhood right now. So
Got your six.
yeah, exactly, yep.
What would you tell other people who might might be in a similar situation and just don't know how to pick themselves up and tell them about this organization and how it can help them?
So what I tell people is don't knock it until you try it. If you allow yourself to open up and try something new, then you've got nothing but blue and sunny skies ahead of you, because this is actually, you're taking care of yourself. You may not realize it, but you're actually taking care of yourself. And Zen and the great folks at Ride On St. Louis are geared for success, not geared for recess. So yeah, and that's what I tell everybody. I says, hey, you don't want to, take my word for it. Just make contact, go down there. But I've also always held Ride On St. Louis near and dear to my heart, because, you get to a point in your process of what's going on, the depression and things of that nature, and you just don't know where to turn. And then lo and behold, I get this email out of the blue saying, hey, there's an equine-assisted therapy happening in your area. Would you be interested? Well, simple click. Yes, I'm interested. Usually, yeah. And normally none of these things just pan out, but this just kept panning out. And I'm like, okay, this is realistic. I better do something now. So yeah, so very happy that I was.
Helped heal your spirit.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. It's, you no longer feel broken down. You actually feel as though you have a purpose, whatever that purpose may be, that's for the individual. But I can safely say that I'm here today because I've been driven by the help that I've received from Ride On St. Louis, and every day seems to be new and exciting, and that's where we go from there. So yeah. Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much for sharing your story with us
My
today,
pleasure.
Rich. And let's hear from another client who has been healed as well.
In 2011, I was diagnosed with a brain tumor. I had a meningioma that was a golf ball size. It wrapped around the arteries and veins in the back side of my brain. They had to remove a portion of it. I ended up having 2 strokes. It caused severe damage to the left side of my brain with memory, focal issues, aphasia, left severe damage to my right foot. I really can't use it that much. And at the time when I went on disability, I haven't been able I was walking with a cane, and as you can see, I don't anymore, which is a big thing. And I am on disability because I have been through vocational rehab and tons of therapy, and I really can't work because of the damage that has been done to my brain. But now I get to take care of one of my most favorite things that I love, horses. I find peace. I find peace since I have worked here. Ride On St. Louis has made me not only physically, but emotionally better than I have been in the past 6 years. And I am so grateful, so very grateful.
And Marita is back on set with us. Now, I know you guys are in a temporary home right now because your primary location devastated by floods. Tell me a little bit about how it's affected the programs.
Well, Ride On St. Louis is 24 years old, and for 16 years we operated in a small river town community, and it was absolutely beautiful when the water stayed in the banks. But those of you from the St. Louis area and nationally too saw all of the flooding across national news, and Ride On St. Louis was right in the middle of that. So 5 different occasions we went underwater. The devastation was just amazing every time we'd have to come in. And, you know, packing up everything at the location, moving it all out, including all of our animals, and having to, get them feeling comfortable at a new location. It was just really difficult. And our cats, we have some barn cats that always did their jobs very well, but that was really hard. And sometimes the water would be up from, I think 6 to 7 weeks at one time. One time, 8 months, we were out of service. And so it threw everything off. All of our grants, the funding that was focused for a spring activity, then was canceled and gone. And it was just a very difficult situation. And every time it made our organization suffer and suffer, and was harder to pull out of it. So we decided to be proactive instead of reactive, and we are now in a temporary home in House Springs. And, we're doing limited services right now, and we're looking to find our forever property. So we keep the search out. We would like a peaceful property that's at least about 25 acres.
All right. Well, and we actually have video talking about the clients telling about why it's so important to get back at full capacity.
Correct.
And
Yes.
show some of the devastation.
Right on St. Louis stands out because of its excellence. Marita and the staff settle for nothing less than the best. They have all the top certifications, and they provide wonderful training to their staff and their volunteers. Marita takes the time to get to know every single person who walks through those doors at Right on St. Louis, and she genuinely cares about them. I had a girl with muscular dystrophy, and her mother reported that after our hippotherapy sessions, her GI problems actually resolved, and that decreased the need for further medical interventions. This is something I wasn't even planning on that helping her, but just being on the movement of the horse, utilizing her core, and participating in all that activity helped those GI problems. So that was a benefit, an added on benefit.
She's always been quite the charmer, and she always bonded with her sidewalkers. And Marita, fortunately for us, Marita was usually her guide, the horse guide, and so yeah, she really misses her.
I miss sidewalking, I miss being around the horses, but mainly I miss being around the kids and the interaction. Not only, like I said, how great I feel helping them, but how great they make me feel helping them.
When she's not on a horse, it has affected her greatly. I mean, everything from her balance to her trunk control to her muscle tone. Unfortunately, this long time that she hasn't been on the horse, she's been using her walker more. At school, when she was in school, in the house. She never used a walker before, but she's back to using a walker. So not being able to ride has affected her greatly.
In 2012, I deployed to Afghanistan. Upon my return in October of that year, I didn't have a job to go back to. So I just kind of sat unemployed. I saw a news report on local TV that talked about how this nonprofit organization that supported primarily children with disabilities had flooded, was looking for volunteers. And so I turned to my spouse and I said, hey, you know what? I think tomorrow I'm gonna go down and just, help out and get out of the house and go do something. And on that day, I worked really hard. Marita put me to work, as she does, but it was a good day. It was, it was probably one of the better days I had had in probably a fairly long time.
We were there. We actually had an event, I believe, a couple nights prior to the flood, and I hadn't seen the devastation, at first, and I just kind of saw some pictures and heard about it. But when you went and you started cleaning up muddy stuff and moving things and just knowing that it was going to put a halt to all the good that Right on St. Louis does, it was hurtful for not only the clients, but us too.
To watch something that is so important and so fragile just gone, just gone in a matter of days. But when we came back, everything had to be done again. Thousands and thousands, tens of thousands of dollars of rehabbing, rebuilding, re-drywalling. First you had to tear out all the old gunk, and then it was horrible, just awful. Then to have it happen again and again and again, it got to the point where it was demoralizing. The thought of finding a home, a permanent home that won't flood, will have this, this beautiful barn and tons of pasture for the horses, and it will be uplifting again, it'll be healing again, and it'll be miracles for clients, for people that need miracles. Ride on St. Louis can deliver.
Please support Ride on
St. Louis.
Well, and all of this takes money and support and donations, and you actually have a general.
Yes, General William Jerry Boykin. He's infamous from the Black Hawk Down movie, and he knows that equine-assisted services really helps support veterans. So we're so thrilled to have him. He'll be out this summer for Ride on St. Louis, and we're really looking for all kind of donations, property that will help us, 25 acres, and peaceful location.
So how do people get in touch to volunteer, to donate?
Absolutely. The easiest thing is to go to our website at rideonstl.org. You can call us at 636-464-3408.
Thank you so much for being here, Marita.
Thank you.
And thank you for watching. Until next time, be inspired.